Well, good morning, YouTube. It's Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024. About 5:30 in the morning, and you can see Kevin's over there hooking up his battery to his solar panels, getting him turned around to catch the morning sun when it comes up. He just came out, and I'm over here. Oh, there's Flapjack. Flapjack and I are here in the van. You can see I got the heater going. That's my first cup of coffee right there. And figured I'd tell you a little bit about what happened last night. We didn't have initially a lot of activity. We had some. Reposition this a little bit here. Maybe I can get someplace where it's comfortable. Let's try that and see if that works. Anyway, we were sitting over there by the fire pit there, over where Kevin was at, in front of his tent. And I was looking off to what is now my right, over toward the wood line, and Kevin was facing kind of the other direction. And we were getting a little bit of twinkle light activity, and we were seeing dark shapes moving around. At one point, I had one come in, and he would look out one side of a tree, and then duck back, and then look out the other side of the tree. And he did that 3 or 4 times, but it was back in the wooded area there where it was dark enough that I absolutely can't hang my hat on what it was. I could see a dark shape moving, but I couldn't see enough to identify it. So, was there something there? Absolutely. Could I absolutely say it was a Sasquatch? No, I can't. We did get some names. One of the names that we got was an elder that we're familiar with by the name of Trake. And Trake is actually Rob's teacher. And Trake was here last night. We also got one that we met before named Charity that I mentioned in my last video. Charity was here last night. But the other 2 that I mentioned in the previous video apparently were not. I saw one pretty large shape moving off to the west of us, the other side of Kevin's tent. And once more, it was dark enough that I could see something, dark mass moving. But and it was moving pretty fast, and there's just no way I could absolutely say what it was. But around 9 o'clock, all of a sudden, out of the blue, Kevin gets super, super tired. Well, we've learned that's kind of a clue, and so I wasn't tired at all. And so anyway, we talked about it a little bit, and Kevin said, well, I'm either going to fall asleep in my chair or I'm going to fall asleep in my bed, and I'd rather do it in my bed. So we decided to call it a night, and it was probably a little before 9:30. So anyway, I came in and got Flapjack out to do one last potty break, and then went ahead and ran for the night and went to bed and went right to sleep. And well, I woke up in the middle of the night, just wide awake, and when that happens, it usually means something's going on. And so I laid there for a little bit, and I was on actually on my right side, and I sleep with my feet toward the back of the van, so my right side, I'm facing the wall. Well, I rolled over on my back, and of course my bladder told me that I needed to get up and relieve myself. Before I had even had a chance to do that, all of a sudden I got a little thunk sound, and it was literally right next to my right ear. So we've been within probably less than 12 inches of the side of the van, inside. And it was just a little odd sound. And it's a sound I hadn't necessarily heard before. And but because of where it was at, and I was laying perfectly still, so it wasn't anything I did. Dog's banging my foot, so that's why the camera's moving. So I knew it wasn't anything I did. And I'm just laying there trying to figure out, because I can sense that they're there. Well, and all of a sudden, my urge to get up and relieve myself totally went away. And I started feeling what felt like waves of energy, maybe 6 or 8 inches wide, coming into the left side, the right side of my abdomen. So it'd be the side toward the wall. And kind of successive waves of energy, and they kind of passed and then stopped and passed and then stopped, and this went on for a few minutes, and it was right down in my I would say in my kidney bladder area. And I could feel it. I could feel the waves of energy in my body. It didn't feel like hands. It just felt like a wave of energy moving through my body from right to left. And anyway, after about 5 or 6 of those, all of a sudden my urge to get up and relieve myself started coming back. And every time one of those little waves of energy would go through, it would get worse. And finally, I mean, it was finally I couldn't hold it anymore. So I said, I'm going to have to get up and go pee. I don't know what you're doing down there, but whatever it is, it's making me have to go pee. So they suppressed it for a little bit, and then whatever they did made it worse. So anyway, they backed off. I got up, I used my pee bottle, and any of you know anything about vans, you know that all of us old guys got a pee bottle. And so then I got back in bed again, and I laid back and said, okay, I don't know, I asked them what they were doing, and nobody talked to me. But whatever they were doing it through the wall of the van on the driver's side. And so I laid there for a little bit, and nothing more happened. So I thought, well, I guess maybe it's over with, and whatever they were doing. And I trust them. I know they're not going to hurt me. And then about that time, all of a sudden I realized that I'm also breathing better. And so I didn't notice them working any higher than my waist, but whatever they did, it seemed like I could breathe better. And so I'm laying there kind of marveling at that. And so I decided, all right, they're done for the night, so I'm going to go to sleep. So I rolled over on my left side this time, so I was facing the center of the van. And when I did that, I started getting zapped. And I got what we call a full half body zap, which would be the one side of your body or the other. And usually if you're laying on your left side, it's your right side that gets zapped. So it's up the side that's facing up. And I got a couple of those, and then I went to sleep. Well, I woke up. After I got up and relieved myself and got back in bed again, I looked at my watch, and it was 2 o'clock straight up. So now I know roughly they must have worked on me for 20 minutes or so, and it ended right at 2 o'clock. So anyway, so I went back to sleep again, and I woke up again. This time it was about quarter to 5, and one thing I did notice as soon as I woke up, I noticed that my lungs kind of hurt. And what'd they feel like? What's hurt mean? Well, they kind of felt like you'd, when you were younger and you hadn't been running for a while, and all of a sudden you went out and ran in a track event or something like that, and the next morning your lungs kind of hurt. Well, that's kind of the way it felt. They felt heavy, and they kind of felt like they hurt, but I feel like I can breathe okay. So the question is, what did they do? And the answer I have is I really don't know. Something appeared. My gut instinct tells me that they were removing inflammation, and that maybe I had starting to have inflammation build up there. Maybe they were down checking, checking where my prostate used to be to make sure everything was okay down there. But it appeared to be right in the neighborhood of my kidneys and my bladder, the lower abdomen. And all I could feel was like these waves of energy going into me. And they didn't come out the other side. They didn't come out the left side. I could just feel them going in the right side, and I could feel them in my body. And so I'm not sure exactly what they did. But I guess we'll pay attention the next few days and see if there's any after effects. I know this morning I feel like I can breathe better, even though they didn't work on my lungs, or if they did it while I was sleeping. But yeah, it was, that part of the night was pretty interesting. I have 100% confidence in them. The other thing, one more thing is that, while I was laying there I felt like they were done with me. And, so I asked him, I said, if you have healers here, Flapjack on his left hind leg has one of those fat deposit things that a lot of dogs get, and it's getting fairly large. The vet doesn't think it needs to come off, but it's gradually growing. Had it biopsied, and it's benign, so it's not cancer. But I asked him if there's anything they could do with that. for him. And interestingly enough, just as soon as I said that, then all of a sudden he starts stirring. Now, I don't have any idea what was going on, and he doesn't look any different this morning. But as soon as I asked them if they could take a look at that, then he's stirring. I could hear him breathing before that, so I knew he was sleeping. But he started moving around a little bit, so I have no idea what happened. Like I say, it doesn't look like there's any change this morning. I looked. But anyway, that's what happened last night. And I'm going to leave this open for right now. I'm probably bringing you another segment later on in the day. So let me take a look over here and see if Kevin... Well, the sun's starting to come up. Kevin's going to go pick his wife up this morning. And so he hasn't started a fire yet. So he's apparently went back in his tent and probably getting dressed and stuff. So let me spin back around here and give you one more look at old Flapper. Flapjack. Flapjack, say hi to your fans. And I'll be back again here in a little bit. Well, I'm back, and it's a little bit later. I went over and talked to Kevin to see what he had happen last night, and he had some stuff as well. He was wanting to get on the road to get over to head back home, pick up his wife, and he's already gone, and he'll be back here probably around noon or so. And then she's going to stay with him here through the weekend. So I'll be here for a few hours by myself holding down the fort. But I asked him what he had happened last night, and he said he didn't seem like he had a lot. Now, Kevin sleeps with a CPAP machine. He actually has a battery set up that runs the CPAP machine all night. And that's why he set up the solar panels, to try to recharge his battery. And so anyway, he said that he got woke up about 1 or so, and he said there was a couple of them standing outside his tent talking. And he could hear them talking, and he could actually hear them over the noise of the CPAP machine. So he said he took the mask off and tried to talk to them, and they wouldn't necessarily talk to him. But he also said when he woke up this morning, he said his shoulders didn't hurt anymore, and his shoulders were bothering him pretty much last evening. And I don't know what exactly he might have done that triggered him, but he's got a lot of aches and pains from his war injuries, and so whatever it was, I think they worked on him a little bit too, and he'll be thinking about that while he's on the road, and maybe he'll come up with something more that happened. But anyway, that's kind of my report for this morning. It's like I say, I'll be here in camp all day today, and we'll see what ends up happening here later on tonight. But for right now, I think I'm going to wrap this one and tell you, as I always do, take care of each other and love each other and take care of yourself. It's a great life. It's beautiful up here in the woods. I'm on my second cup of coffee. I had to remember to turn the radio off because I've had music in the background. But anyway, that's the report from up here on the mountain. We're at a place called Coyote Camp. We used to call it something different, so if we talked about it before, we might have called it Campo Bonito, because that was the name that we called it once before. But Kevin had an incident here involving a bunch of coyotes, and so he decided to start calling it Coyote Camp. So that's what we do now. So I'll be back with you again here when I got something to tell you about. And so I guess for right now, I'll spin you back around. My Mr. Buddy heater is working just fine. And so until I see you again, I'll just tell you peace out.